Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Burnsville Chamber Business Briefing. Thank you for starting your day with us. We really value your time and engagement. Today's briefing will do three things. We'll keep you informed on what's happening locally. We'll give you a chance to share your perspective and help guide chamber priorities and business advocacy for the year ahead. As you can see on the agenda, we'll hear updates from District 191, from the City of Burnsville and the Burnsville Chamber. We'll also review our core areas and walk through the Minnesota Chamber Federation priorities, and then wrap up with a member discussion. Your feedback today matters, both locally and at the state level, so please be ready to participate. I'm pleased to welcome Scott Hume, School Board Member with District 191, to share updates on what's happening in our schools and workforce pipeline. Scott, thank you for being here and your continued partnership with the business community.
Thank you. It is good to be here this morning. It feels like it's been a little while since I've been to one of these meetings because it has. So I'll start with kind of the most recent headlines. We did have our annual organizational meeting last night. Abigail Alt will be the board chair this year. I will be the vice chair this year. So that's new information. At our next meeting in 2 weeks, we'll be approving board assignments for this year, which includes the Chamber of Commerce assignment. So in the event that this is my last meeting, I will be sure and connect with Jennifer and let her know who the new board person is. And if I am still here, I'll also let Jennifer know that as well. So that's one of the many assignments that will get approved at our next meeting in 2 weeks. So wanted to mention that. Also, last night we approved the contract with the Burnsville Education Association, our teachers union. We settled with them in late November, and with the timing of the holidays and how long it takes to get their full membership to be able to vote, the timing didn't work out for us to approve the contract in December, but it was on last night's agenda. We approved it. So that contract runs through June of 2027. It includes a total increase of salary and benefits of 7.9% over the 2 years of the contract. And probably the biggest headline is that first year teachers in the district will now be starting at $50,000 a year, starting in the next school year, the 26-27 school year, so starting this fall, which was something that the teachers union really wanted and something we wanted to make happen as well. So we were able to negotiate our way into making that. So we'll have a very competitive starting salary for first year teachers compared to other districts. We also approved last night contracts with 3 of our other bargaining units, our educational assistants, our clerical staff, and our IT staff. So that feels good to get that many done kind of in one fell swoop. And then as far as other things that are maybe a little bit older, but have happened since I was last on one of these meetings. I think I mentioned at the meeting I attended in October that we'd be moving our graduation off campus in 2026. And it was announced, most of you have probably heard this by now, but it was announced in early November that graduation will be at the Anderson Arena at the University of St. Thomas. I believe it is on Sunday, May the 31st. So that will be a change for everyone. And then also in early November, the annual enrollment report was presented to the board. It did once again show some declines compared to last year, but there are a couple of encouraging signs. There was slower decline than what we budgeted for. So we do actually have more students in the district than what we had planned on and expected for. So that's a good thing. Also, the enrollment at both middle schools is actually higher this year than last year, which is, I think, very encouraging because the middle schools have been where we've tended to have our biggest drop off of students leaving the district to enroll elsewhere has typically been between elementary and middle school. So to see enrollment increasing at the middle schools seems like a good sign for the future. And then the last thing, as far as I'm sure there's other encouraging signs, but the last one I'll mention here is that students enrolling into the district has been showing an increase over several years. So even though we're still losing more students than we're bringing in, the number of students who are choosing to open enroll into Burnsville, Egan Savage has been increasing. I think it's gone up by about 100 students just in the last 2 years. So that's a good thing. And then just some for those who are curious about demographics in the district, 30% of our students are Black, 29% are Hispanic, and 26% identify as white. So I've been saying for several years that you know, when I go into a school and look around, it looks to me like it's about a third, a third, a third, and that's very close to what the reality is. So we do have a very, very diverse district, which is wonderful. And then the last thing that I'll mention is that we do have a board retreat coming up this Monday to discuss safety and security, everything from cybersecurity to other kinds of safety and security. So that's happening on Monday, and we do have the police chief from Savage who will be in attendance as well at that retreat. So short and sweet. I think those are all my updates for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for being here this morning. With that, we will move uh, to Dan Keeley, Burnsville City Council member. Dan will share updates on city initiatives and how things are going. Dan, take it away.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. Um, I've got several things to run through, so I'm going to go as fast as I can. First up, probably what's on everyone's mind as a result of the what's in the news and the ICE activities is when back in the beginning when they were beginning to send ICE was beginning to take action in the state of Minnesota and in the city of Burnsville, the city created a Federal Action Emergency Operations Center at City Hall, similar to what was set up when we lost our three heroes, and our public safety folks were offline for a couple weeks. The Emergency Operations Center continues to manage information, communication, and operations related to this action, the federal action, and they meet once a week. In addition, the Minnesota Chiefs have all organized and are sharing and coordinating uh, to make sure that everyone is aware of what's going on. But to be clear, our PD does not engage in federal ICE activities. We only are involved when there's a public safety issue, and of course, when sometimes when there's a large gathering of people, things can get a little out of hand, and to ensure the safety of our citizens and our businesses, we are called in sometimes by residents and businesses when there's altercations. The recent news that uh, our Burnsville PD was handling a situation, and then ICE ended up arriving at a very close proximity was pure coincidence. That's not any kind of organized effort. And at the same time, we have to be careful not to just avoid doing our job, doing the job in public safety because ICE happens to be close by. But so it's a very fine line, but a very distinct separation of those responsibilities and roles. Burnsville University was set up a few years ago, and there's a 2025 recap. Burnsville University is an internal city sort of education process. And in 2025, um, there were employees took advantage of 104 courses, and with 1,630 participants, that equates to about an average of 4.5 classes per employee in the city. So great attendance. It's all basically further education to invest in our employees to be, better at what they do. Our We announce acting mayors at the start of each year, and Council Member Schultz will be serving. It is currently serving as acting mayor when the mayor is unavailable for the first half of the year, and Council Member Workman is going to cover the second half. Some good news related to a very unnerving assault on January 1st, Crystal Lake Park West. There was uh, a man assaulted a woman. She was able to fight her way free, and there was an arrest made in the last 48 hours of the suspect, the prime suspect in that. So that was good news to get that person off the streets. That was a very unnerving type of crime that was committed in an area of the city that really we don't want it to happen anywhere, but Crystal Lake Beach Park area is usually fairly quiet. Save the date. The State of the City address is at the Ames Center on April 13th from 4 to 6. Hope to see everybody here and lots of other people attend. It's usually a very good recap of the year and a good communication piece for the mayor. Community communication system replacement. We're moving as a city from Gov Delivery to IndiGov. I actually interacted and met the IndiGov folks through National League of Cities over the last few years, and I was very impressed with their advanced communication platform, SMS, email, etc. So much easier for the city to engage with residents and communicate with residents. So I'm really happy to see that the decision was made to through a vetting process that IndiGov was selected. There's a lot of vendors out there that do this kind of thing. I just happen to be a little bit more familiar with IndiGov, but I'm very happy. Being a marketer and a communication guy, I've been kind of pestering Greg over the last few years. Like we need to find a way to do a better job to communicate and engage our residents and businesses. We also are doing a utility billing system transition to a new platform, and there's postcards being mailed to everybody this month, and it'll be a new system that'll make it a lot easier for setting up auto pay and e-billing and that kind of stuff. Our old system was pretty good, but they found a better one. We have some big city code updates coming related to, well, this is Jeff's area, the development, community development area. So, he can maybe speak to that after the presentations are done, but going through the zoning code, and that's going through planning on the 26th and coming to the city council on February 17th. In development, everybody seems to shop at Costco, so I'll mention that Costco's gas station is going to move from where it's currently located to the land that our old fire station used to occupy and a daycare center that was adjacent to it. They bought both of those properties. That's coming to planning on January 12th, to the city council on February 3rd. So once it passes those two steps, you'll probably start to see some more serious construction activity going on in that area. But eventually the gas station, when it's moved, will allow more parking further away, but more parking. I think the employees are going to park over there. We have two micro cannabis businesses coming. As everyone knows, the cannabis law took effect, and it's been delayed a lot by a lot of different things. But Burnsville has two cannabis micro businesses coming. One of them is coming to the Planning Commission on January 12th, and then the council on February 3rd. And there's another one that is in the pipeline but doesn't have specific dates yet. Location is Riverwood Drive is the first one that we know about, and the second one is on Highway 13 West. So obviously, a big new business as a result of that law, and it'll be interesting to see how those businesses perform. We do have room based on the law. We are forced by the state law to accept a certain number of cannabis businesses per population, per capita, far more than I think we need, but we don't have any control over that. But this is the first couple that are coming in. We are going to invest in a fire department drone. About 2 years ago, we added a police drone. We were borrowing Egan's pretty much in every circumstance that needed a drone, where a drone could be very helpful to get eyes in the sky and help understand what a threat is when someone is inside their house with the windows closed and the drapes drawn, and in a threatening situation when there's 911 calls with domestic, etc. So the fire department, think of it as eyes in the sky to assess where a fire is, being able to fly up and look through windows very quickly. And there's all kinds of technology out there that we are going to start using. And I think this is a great investment to help our firefighters do a better, allow them to do their job better, getting some additional information that they currently can't access without getting ladders extended up and going in. Much like the school district, we do have labor negotiations going on. We did settle one of our contracts with our police sergeants, but the rest are still in negotiations right now, but we do expect they will get wrapped up in a reasonable amount of time, and the basically the collaboration and the cooperation is very high. We do offer some really good, very competitive wages and benefits, focus on benefits for our public safety and our street maintenance workers union, et cetera. So we don't expect any issues. From a legislative standpoint, intergovernmental, the Municipal League Legislative Commission, Municipal Legislative Commission, or MLC, has an annual legislative breakfast. It's coming up February 13th at Egan, and it's a good opportunity for the area mayors and city council members, city administrators, et cetera, to get together with the lobbyists and go over the where we're at and what we're going to work on in this legislative session. Joint city council and school board meeting. Eric and I and many others get together here pretty soon. February 24th, we're going to come together and share our thoughts, discuss items and outcomes. And we do this not every year, every maybe couple years. And I really look forward to it. And I'm excited this year because I think we can have a really great discussion on how we can collaborate even more. And I'm doing some research on what other school districts and cities have done collaboratively around the country and get some ideas that we can flush out, spitball, and see what'll stick. But looking forward to that. The Police City Hall project update. If you go to our city website, search the Police City Hall project to go to the page. There's a time lapse video it's really great. You can see it from the start, like City Hall before it started to current. There's also an image there with a slide bar where you can slide it back and forth, and it kind of shows how the building is expanding, et cetera. So would encourage everybody to do it. It's very interesting, and it's a good way to keep up on how things are progressing with that very major $98 million capital project, biggest in the history of the city. We also work with Concordia University, their global program partnership. We do a mentorship program. And just on January 6th, actually, our meeting earlier this week, we authorized expanding the collaboration to support officer development and recruitment. And so this is an investment in cultivating our future public safety workers. And it's a great collaboration right now. From a public works standpoint, fun, traffic, congestion, construction. It's kind of been good since November when Burnsville Parkway opened up and Highway 13 opened up in both directions with the new bridge on one side. But unfortunately, there will be a closure of the other side, the other bridge, the other direction of Highway 13 in the spring, and we'll go through another pinch on Highway 13 with one lane each way. However, with Burnsville Parkway open, it may not be as bad. Certainly shouldn't be as bad as it's been. Cliff Road is still closed east-west and will remain that way until later next year. There is an open house for this whole Highway 13 from Burnsville, Nicollet, and 13 to Savage coming up on January 27th at McCall Pond Environmental Learning Center in Savage. There'll be a presentation at 5:30, and MnDOT's there, the city's there, the county's there, Scott County and Dakota County. But I just want to point out that this project as a whole has still about an $80 million funding gap. However, we got really good news from MnDOT in the last week or so. They have told us that the schedule to replace, basically grade separate Nicollet at 13 is moving forward, and they consider it fully funded. So they're going to allocate funds to get that done. It is early utility and engineering work is going to start this year, and you'll start seeing construction next year. Fun. That's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, with my office that I'm sitting in right now, and the chamber office is on the north side of 13 and Nicollet, and we need to get to the south side. So that's going to be an interesting one to go through. It's a $50 million intersection. So the rest of the corridor to the west of us is where the funding gap really still exists. So we really appreciate MnDOT allocating the funds and reinforcing the commitment to get this intersection grade separated. We did attempt at a few different federal grants. I think we attempted 4 times. The last one was Safer Streets for All federal competitive grant for 25 million, and we were rejected for the 4th time. So we're glad that MnDOT and the state is stepping in and filling the gap and committing to finish the project. We have some major construction well, the county actually has some construction on Cliff this coming construction season from County Road 11 to Redwood Drive on County Road 42, and on Cliff Road from I-35, which is in dire need. If you've driven that area, it's the road is really rough. All the way over to where Cliff intersects with Highway 13, so the entire Cliff corridor. So looking forward to that getting done, but more construction. There's a lot of capital investment that's been going on in Burnsville over the last couple of years with the bridge replacements and more coming. We appreciate the attention, but man, does it create travel problems. We have several parks that we have not taken care of for a long time. Paha Sapa is one of the worst, and I'll cite that. But we have Colonial Park, Crosstown West, Hollow Park, Oakleaf West Park, and Paha Sapa that are all in major need of some parking lot reconstruction. And Paha Sapa, when we did the tour over the last 2 to 3 years in preparation for identifying the priorities, et cetera, it was atrocious. It looked like bombs had gone off in the asphalt lead when you pull off of Chicago Avenue and pull into it's like craters that would have knocked exhaust pipes off and broken shocks. So I'm very happy that I'm not sure why we let it get to that point, but parks sometimes is down the priority list a little bit. There's public safety, there's infrastructure, there's water, there's streets, there's a lot of things. So anyway, we're giving some love and respect to Parks Capital. Arts Commission, I'm on my last couple here. Thank you, and I appreciate your time. The Arts Commission that we talked about, the city approved over a year ago or about a year ago. The city's been convening, coordinating, and collecting the arts throughout the community with this new Arts Commission coming as an advisory body to the City Council. The commission will strengthen our communication among the arts groups, elevate the arts in the city events and activities, and maintain shared resources. So we have a task force that's going to be established to engage local artist partners and the community to guide the design and implementation of the commission. And staff just got together in December, and there's a consulting agreement that's coming to us this month. Two last things. One really fun, positive note to end on. Police, the analyst of the year, crime analyst Megan Michael was recognized by the Midwest Association of Crime and Intelligence Analysts as the 2025 Analyst and Rookie of the Year. So rookie analyst. Award honors emerging professionals with 3 years or less of experience who demonstrate strong analytical skills, initiative, and meaningful contributions early in their career. So congratulations to Megan. And one thing to end on, I found this very interesting. A positive recycling story. We are donating lids to Apple Valley. So in November 2025, the City Council authorized the replacement of 55-gallon drum trash cans in the city parks with new solid waste collection carts, which have their own flip-on lid. They're scheduled to be deployed early in this year. In the transition, the city no longer had use of about 270 plastic lids from the former drum system. Rather than dispose of the plastics into the landfill, staff identified an opportunity to donate them to the city of Apple Valley, where they are still using the drums. And so we saved the landfill 207, a contribution of 270 plastic lids, and they're going to be recycled and continue their life in Apple Valley. That's all I have. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dan. We have a question in the chat about getting details for the Highway 13 meeting on January 27th. We will share that we'll put that on the chamber calendar and make sure people have access to that meeting and know where and when to go and whatnot. So
thank you. It'll be a well-attended meeting. It's a major corridor.
It's an important meeting. So I also just put in the chat the Minnesota Chamber Federation priorities for those of you that are in the meeting. We're going to be talking about those in a few minutes, and I'm going to hit the highlights in the PowerPoint, but there's a lot of material. It's a two-page document. So if in case you wanted to open it for when we review it, I wanted to give you a minute to do that. So with that, we'll a few chamber updates. Let me, I lost. I lost something on my screen here. Hang on. There we go. Okay. So, um, our focus remains on helping our members at the chamber be visible, be heard, be informed, connect, and grow. And everything we do ties back to those outcomes. Just a few upcoming programs to help with that. Our AM coffee break next week will be at the Burnsville YMCA. Our out to lunch program will be at the new Chingu Korean fried chicken restaurant at Burnsville Center. And our business after hours will be at Mediterranean Cruise Cafe. Please join us for these. Each event highlights a member business, creates connections, and offers a relaxed way to engage with fellow chamber and community members. And and you can find all of those on our chamber event calendar to get more details or to register. I'm also excited to say that we have our annual meeting coming up on January 28th at 11 a.m. And our keynote speaker, McKenna Hasse, will be sharing a little bit about her journey and her business uh, um, leadership skills. And sorry, so with that, I want to share that a lot of what you see at the chamber are public facing events, but what I will say is these are really just the tip of the iceberg. Um, so much of what we do is on behalf of our members. We call these our core work areas, and they generally fall into the three areas of business advocacy, business education network, and economic development. So I want to hit these a little bit this morning with a special focus on the business advocacy at the end. So first of all, we're going to touch on our business education network. For those of you that aren't familiar, we focus on our student work experiences, teacher externships, online job fairs, and state of the school. This work strengthens our future workforce and helps us build a talent pipeline. Our economic development efforts focus on business retention visits. Our Grow Minnesota partnership, that is a partnership with the Minnesota Chamber and the City of Burnsville. Business retention and engagement surveys that are put out by the Chamber. There's one by the city, and there's also one by the Minnesota Chamber. And then ongoing engagement with our employers. The goal is simple. We want to support existing businesses and ensure that Burnsville remains a great place to invest and grow. Our third core area is about advocacy, and we focus on ensuring that the business voice is represented. Our Public Policy Committee reviews issues, responds to legislation, and connects members with decision makers at all levels of government. This work is informed directly by member input, and we expand our reach through partnerships with both the Minnesota Chamber and the U.S. Chamber, along with other partner organizations. So that's just a high level of the three core areas. This morning, we're going to focus on our public policy arena, and first and foremost, our Minnesota Chamber Federation. One of the ways we partner with the Minnesota Chamber is this federation, which is a statewide coalition of chambers advancing a competitive pro-business climate through research-based advocacy. We participate so Burnsville businesses have a seat at the table when state policy decisions are made. Each year, the Federation puts together a shared policy platform for state legislative session. Our goal of reviewing the draft platform with you today is to generate feedback to ensure it represents our members. We will forward your feedback to the chamber board so that they can include it with their comments to the Federation. So with that, we will jump into some of the background. The complete draft is in the chat for those of you that are in the room. We will also post it in the Member Information Center resource tab for other chamber members if you're watching this as a recording. We strongly encourage you to share your feedback, your personal stories, and real-world impacts to help us advocate on these issues, and it'll help us shape our activities for the legislative session. It's important to step back and look at the broader picture of Minnesota's business climate. Minnesota has strong fundamentals of a highly skilled and reliable workforce, a diverse, innovative economy, quality infrastructure and healthcare, and natural resources that support both quality of life and business activity. These strengths matter and they're worth protecting. But the data also tells us that strengths alone aren't enough if we want to stay competitive. When we look at the numbers, we see a mixed picture. On the positive side, Minnesota ranks best in the nation for business survival after 5 years, labor force participation remains high, and patents per capita rank in the top 10 nationally. However, there are some clear warning signs. Our GDP growth ranks 40th nationally, job growth ranks 31st nationally, and state and local tax burdens remain in the top 10. At the same time, operating costs are rising. We're seeing investment decisions shifting to neighboring states. This tells us that Minnesota is capable of strong growth, but something is holding us back. The economic imperative is what the Minnesota Chamber is focusing on this year. The long-term success depends on policies that champion the private sector, encourage the investment and expansion, support workforce growth and affordability. Success will be measured through prosperity with rising wages and GDP per capita, workforce growth. Minnesota's labor force has been essentially flat for a decade, and migration, whether people and businesses choose to move here or invest elsewhere. These metrics matter because they directly impact employers' ability to grow, hire, and compete. So that's the context behind the priorities that we'll be looking at here. And our first priority up is taxes. So there we go. So the first legislative priority for the Federation that's being proposed is taxes, improving our competitiveness. Minnesota has been uncompetitive across nearly all categories since 2008, and while other states have moved aggressively to reduce income and corporate taxes, Minnesota has largely stood still. Improving tax levels and structure is the goal to incentivize business investment, support expansion and job creation, and help Minnesota compete nationally and globally. This isn't about eliminating taxes. It's about creating a structure that encourages growth instead of driving it elsewhere. We have a few questions in the chat, so I just want to pause for a second. And asking
They're
if we,
really niche, like Burnsville and advocacy things. So if you want to finish this concept and come back around to that, that seems perfectly appropriate.
sure, absolutely. Yep. Yes, we will circle back to those. Thanks, Laura, for sure. I just wanted to make sure they weren't anything hot button on what we're talking about. Great, thank you. So that's on taxes. The second priority is workplace mandate, looking at employer-focused flexibility. Many businesses are still adjusting to paid family leave, minimum wage increases, new regulatory standards across industries, not to mention ESST and all kinds of other things. These changes have added complexity, cost, and uncertainty, especially for small and mid-sized employers. The Federation is advocating for more employer-focused flexibility, balanced workable regulations, and adjustments where implementation challenges still exist, particularly around paid leave. The goal is to ensure mandates work for both employees and employers. And the third priority is around environmental regulations to balance protection and growth. Minnesota values its environment, and businesses do too. But today, environmental permitting takes too long, costs too much, and is often unpredictable. This uncertainty delays or redirects private investment, even when projects meet environmental standards. The priority here is to maintain strong environmental protections while improving certainty, timelines, and consistency. This ensures responsible growth doesn't get stalled unnecessarily. We have a lot of anecdotal stories of businesses moving out of the state or growing elsewhere due to just this uncertainty, unpredictable timelines in environmental permitting, and they're just looking for some standardization here and some predictability. And last but certainly not least in anybody's world is addressing costs. Across all industries, cost pressures continue to rise. State policies can significantly affect energy costs, healthcare costs, housing affordability. These costs impact employers' ability to offer competitive wages, employees' ability to afford living and working in Minnesota, and addressing policy-driven costs is a top concern for businesses and a major focus for the 2026 session. So, why these priorities matter? Taken together, these priorities are about one thing: keeping Minnesota competitive while preserving quality of life. They recognize that business decisions are made every day. Policy plays a real role in where companies invest, expand, and hire, and employer input is essential in getting it right. That's why your feedback today and throughout the year is so important. So we're going to switch to this. How can you engage? There are several ways to stay involved. You can attend these business briefings and participate in the conversations here. You can join the Public Policy Committee to go one step deeper. You can respond to surveys that the Chamber sends out on behalf of the Chamber, the Minnesota Chamber, and the City of Burnsville. You can share examples of how policy impacts your business, and your engagement will strengthen our collective voice. I want to share that these past business briefings will be available on the Chamber's YouTube page. They're a great way to stay informed on policy, development, and business trends. With that, I am going to stop our recording for today. I want to thank you for joining us. We will move into a discussion. So for those of you that are watching on recording, I hope you will join us next month so that you can be a part of the conversation live in our virtual room. So thank you and have a great day.